Clarity is power. In this video, you learn how to envision a life that pulls you forward, how to get there, as well as how to define your purpose in 3 simple steps. Why is this topic important to me? After nearly 5 years at Google, I lost my job 2 years ago in the context of a global restructuring program. That was not a highlight, but at least I had clarity about my next steps. This clarity helped me safely navigate this challenging situation, find a new purpose, and build my own business. Today, this is my work. I help people that are confronted with challenges gain clarity, find direction, and drive results. So, let's start. Let me give you some context first. Performance Institute has conducted a study, the world's largest high-performance study, in which they try to analyze what distinguishes the world's most successful people from the rest. They boiled it down, and the essence is what you see on this slide. These are 6 habits with the highest long-term impact in terms of success, well-being, and relations, if consistently applied. I created a video for each of them so that you can start in each area taking actions. This video here is about seeking clarity, respectively, how to envision the future strategically and consistently in life. How to envision your future, respectively, a life that pulls you forward. If you, by the way, want to start immediately, you can download a template in the description. It contains the life assessment and the summary. Let's start with point number 1, life areas. First point means simply to decide which areas are important to you. Most people who do a life assessment pick these areas here, but it must not apply to you. Maybe some of them are not important for you. Maybe some of them are missing. So pick the ones that are important to you first. And if you want to go deeper, there is one book I could recommend from John Streletsky, The Big 5 for Life. I add the name of the book into the description. It's a good book to think about what is really important in life. Point number 2 is to assess where you are today. How fulfilled do you feel in each of these areas? 1 means not fulfilled, 10 means totally fulfilled. Here it is recommended to do that on a weekly basis so that you keep the eyes on the ball. Some studies also from a high-performance institute have found that people who don't make their goals, they take the eyes off the ball. So that's why it makes sense to assess on a weekly basis, where am I right now? No one is at tens in all of these areas, but it's about checking where we are and what we could prioritize for next week in those areas that matter to you. Step number 3 is the most interesting part. It's about envisioning your future. And here, the most important ingredient in my own experience is to take time for that. It takes a bit more time than just rating the fulfillment levels and determining the areas. That's done maybe in 2 minutes. But to get clear about your desires and goals, that I recommend to take some time and stillness for that. Then the second point is it's important that we don't just write down some goals that are not that meaningful, then put the paper aside. What is really, really decisive is that we think about what are our real desires, what are our dreams, and that we get in connection with that. It's important that they are uplifting, that we feel a connection to this topic. That's absolutely decisive. And then, like top athletes, it is super important to see the winning scene. As you see on this picture, it is important that we visualize, that we see ourselves in the winning scene. Top athletes, they do that on a daily basis, but they do not only see the winning scene, they see also what obstacles might arrive and how they will tackle them. Let me give you an example of how I did it in my life 8 years ago. At that time, I was in Portugal on a holiday. It was a nice spring evening. I was talking to a friend. We were talking about dreams and desires. At that time, I was in a job, in a good job, well-paid job, but I was not really feeling fulfilled. And I was loosely talking, and I said, my dream, my wish would be I could travel the world for a year and see spots I have never seen before. And I said, if I would do that, I would want to go to South America. South America to me was a wide space. I have never been there, but it attracted me. It really interested me. And I said, well, if I would do that, I would go to Buenos Aires first. I would want to learn Spanish, because if I want to discover South America thereafter, speaking Spanish is definitely an advantage. Makes it more interesting if you can communicate with the people. And I said, okay, I also want to take some tango classes. I started a year before, 9 years ago. And if I would do such a trip, maybe I would also be able to see Antarctica. That was what I said that evening. It was coming from my heart. And my friend said, hey, Rito, just do it. Sometimes we have to let go for new things to happen. I thought, yeah, it's quite bold to quit the job, and I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. And that evening, I did not yet decide to do it. But the reason why I bring this example is this desire in me was so strong to do that when I returned home, I started planning and thinking about, okay, what if I did that? What would be the steps needed to do it? What would be the first initial steps? What would be the big plan? What would I do if I return? So that was really a desire. That's why it is important that when we think about desires and goals, that we don't just take something. It should be something that we really attract, that is attracting us, that pulls us up. So I did it. And I was traveling 9 months because I wanted to look for a new job thereafter. And I found a new job, an interesting new job that I loved. And I started exactly 1 year after I quit the job. I started a new job at Google, where I worked nearly 5 years. So sometimes we really have to let go. This is a picture of me in Buenos Aires. Here I was not dancing. That's me. I wasn't dancing. It's a tourist photo. But it's just to show you I really did it. And I traveled for overall 9 months. Once we are clear about what we want, it's about planning it. 4 things are important: strategy, steps, scheduling the calendar, as well as social support. We have to first do some research on what are the different ways possible to get there. We can research in the internet. We can also leverage AI, but I recommend to use our own brain first and ask, for example, family and friends for advice, or experts, or maybe a coach. We need to have a strategy first and then decide on a plan. And with a plan, I mean, what are the exact steps needed to get there? First, what are the big steps to get there, such as planning, building and operating it, or making it happen, and then go into the details for each of the phases. Then the next thing is, once the steps are clear, we have to schedule it in our calendar. If we have a goal without a timeline and without having an entry in our calendar, that's just a dream. It will never happen. But if we are clear about the steps needed, and we plan it accordingly in our calendar, that's the way we make it happen. And as said, social support, if we share our dreams, such as in my case, I shared with my family and friends that I'm building up my own business. You're getting plenty of support. Last point, just do it. Yeah, it is important that we walk the talk. What is important is that we plan on a weekly basis in advance, on a monthly basis in advance, and so on. There is a separate video about productivity, but what is really important is that we plan on a weekly basis in advance, that we quickly check what our goals are, and that we focus on what moves the needle the most. Respectively, what are the most important things to be done in each of the goal areas on a weekly basis. That's really important. And then, as important is that we enjoy the journey. It's not just about rushing or ticking off some check boxes in a to-do list. That's not fun. But what is really important is that we enjoy every step when we make it happen. Once we are clear about our dreams and goals, we want to make them happen. And in order to make them happen, what matters the most is our behavior. Our behavior on the journey, our behavior each day. That's what the North Star is about. It's about our target behavior. It's about defining what your best future self is. What do you want to be? That's the box on the left. How do we want to be? The best future me, how is it? Is it, for example, courageous, mindful, confident, whatever, but it is about writing down the 3 words that describe your best future self. The second point is to think about how would the best future self interact with others. And the last point is, what makes the best future self successful? Is it, as an example, to be disciplined? Is it, as an example, to be strategic? Is it maybe to be authentic? Whatever it is for you, it's absolutely crucial. If you want to make your dreams happen, this helps a lot if you behave in a way that helps you move forward faster. Once you have defined that, it is important that you set yourself a reminder. My recommendation, on your mobile phone, set an alarm that tells you daily your 3 words in these 3 spaces. Because the idea of this exercise is that we, every day, that we step into our best self. It's not about faking it. It's about aligning with our vision of where we want to go. So, as an example, if we want to be more confident, it's important that you step into being confident today. If you want to be more disciplined, it's important to be disciplined already today and to act accordingly so that you don't negotiate with laziness, right? Identity is built by repetition. It is absolutely crucial that we walk like, that we talk like, that we think like, that we take the posture like the person that we want to be already today. What starts with an intention gets into an action, that we behave this way. And the repeated action turns into a habit. And we practice the habit until it is our second nature. This will massively accelerate you moving forward. The beauty of life is that we can make it meaningful. We can decide what is meaningful to us and where we want to go. What inspired me when I was thinking about my purpose was to see life from a really big picture perspective. And I read a book from Bronnie, Ware, The 5 Biggest Regrets of People Dying. She was taking palliative care for people that were about to die, and she wrote that bestseller 10, 12 years ago. The 5 things are: people regretted the most that they didn't live a life true to themselves, that they met others' expectations, but they didn't live their dreams, that they worked too much, that they didn't have the courage to express their true feelings to their closest ones, that they didn't stay in touch with their friends, that they didn't allow themselves to be happier. It was one of my triggers that I lived the dream that I just described before, that I made this sabbatical year happen. The idea of defining a purpose is it gives us in one simple sentence an overarching principle of where we want to go. And the idea is that we remind ourselves daily about it because it fuels our motivation. If you want to define it, Brendan Burchard, founder of the High Performance Institute, he recommends 3 simple steps. How I want to be, that's what I want to do, and the reason why I want to do that. So in my case, as an example, I want to live mindfully, and I want to live my dreams, such as the one that I described, and I want to help people unleash their full potential so that they can live successful, fulfilled, and joyful lives. If you define your purpose, you must not exactly use this structure. You must not even define a purpose, but it helps you clarify the direction. Another example would be I write books for children so that they sleep well at night and can have awesome dreams. Or it can be even much simpler, just as I help people look and feel their best. These are possibilities, but the goal is to have an overarching principle and to give a direction. If you want more inspiration in that space, 2 commencement speeches that I love and that I recommend are one is from Steve Jobs and the other one from Jamie Kern-Lima. In the description underneath, I added them. They are so inspiring, and you can find them in the description underneath. I wish you a vision that really pulls you forward. If you want to go deeper and work with me, you can directly book a call. There is a link in the description. And if you want to continue learning the other high performance habits, I would recommend you this one about how to generate energy. I wish you fun and look forward to see you again.